We're here on Live from the Heartland talking with Marc Moscato. He's like the curator, the inspiration behind the exhibit Brains, Brilliancy, Bohemia, which is currently going on at uh, Mess Hall at 6932 North Glenwood. What time do they open up every day, Mark?
We'll be open at 12 today, and there's kind of irregular hours, so I would say the best way to do is check Mess Hall's website, which is messhall.org.
And you have put together a little book of all of these posters and flyers from the Dill Pickle Club and beyond. It's a nice little book. You made this yourself?
I hand bound it, and we printed it ourselves, yeah, and there's a lot of care.
It inspired me. I said, I'm going to start putting out a few books.
Well, there's a lot of care that actually and thought that went into it. We want, a lot of the Dill Pickle Club materials are actually very small, like little handbills, and so we wanted to do something that was kind of inexpensive and accessible, and something that you could hold in your hands. And the way we designed it is kind of has, a kind of old-time feel. This is actually letterpressed at the School of the Art Institute of Chicago, which has so it's a letterpressing is an old kind of form of typesetting and printing, and the fonts that were used were deliberately chosen and go back to this time period that were popular then, and were based off the fonts that were present in the Dill Pickle Club
Yeah, and I see
posters.
there's some woodcuts or liner cups,
Right. And
nice
so
things.
it's kind of a compliment to the Rosemont book, because it kind of it focuses more on the visual culture, that kind of the look and the aesthetic of the flyers, which definitely had kind of a playful, the way that things are worded and stuff. It's kind of it's fun to look back at.
You can get both these books at the Heartland General Store, and I'm sure other fine bookstores throughout the
Quimby's,
land.
yeah.
Quimby's, and you could pick them up today or during the exhibit at the Mess Hall, too.
That's right. Yeah.
Let me ask you, Mark, what took you to Oregon? How did you end up leaving Buffalo? And maybe did you,
Sure.
ride the rails? How did you get out there?
Oh, that would be a good story, but unfortunately not. I was very involved with a media access center in Buffalo, New York, called Squeaky Wheel Buffalo Media Resources, kind of like the Chicago filmmakers of Buffalo, but much more grassroots. It was a place where anybody could learn how to make a film or video. And so I became very involved with this space, and started volunteering, booking shows, and showing my videos there at Squeaky Wheel. And I started thinking about that there was kind of a need for more places like Squeaky Wheel, and I decided to go back to school get my master's in arts administration. So I wound up going
Where
to
did you do that?
The University of Oregon, there in Eugene.
It's a great place. I've been there to Hayward Field for the USA Track and Field Championships.
Right.
And I went up on the hill and visited Prefontaine's death spot, the great runner.
Right, there's a little tribute to him, a little plaque
there
and
is.
that, yeah.
All right, so you're an interesting guy. You got a lot of energy. You're clearly a fun guy to be around. What are your future plans? What other you're exploring the hobo world. You're exploring this history. We're here in the 21st century. We're moving forward.
Right.
We're in the time of Obama. We're all optimistic, whether we're anarchists or Democrats or independent type people. There's a lot of hope as well as challenges that face us all. What are your plans?
Well, I'm actually really interested in reviving the spirit of places like the Dill Pickle Club and these hobo forums, and bringing back the spirit of public discourse and public debate. Like I said, that's something that I think that's been kind of lost over the years. And so when I go back to Portland, I'm actually working on starting a kind of creative center in a way, kind of modeled off the Dill Pickle model of a club, cafe, bar format. Probably not too much unlike the Heartland here. But
maybe we could franchise.
But
have a
I'm actually
branch
considering
for my retirement.
looking at the Dill Pickle as a model. It's a model that survived 18 years as a countercultural institution here in Chicago, and not just necessarily reviving it, but also making it contemporary and not
relevant
losing
to today.
Right, and I think today, if you look at participatory digital culture, social media, everything that's going on with the internet, it's kind of actually in a way modern soapboxing. People having their own blogs and that. In a way, it's also distancing and alienating, that people aren't necessarily coming together in physical space. So I think if there's some way to create a center where people come together and generate discourse and also tie that in with kind of this new technology. That's where I'm going with all this. Yeah.
Marc Moscato, I'm going to look forward to following your career. I like the idea of like public debates. Maybe we'll do more of that here at the Heartland. You've been a wonderful guest, and I encourage everyone to go check out your exhibit, Brains, Brilliancy, Bohemia, Art and Politics in Jazz Age Chicago. It's at the Mess Hall. Let's have a big round of applause for Marc Moscato. Okay, you've been listening to Live from the Heartland Radio. I want to thank a few people who make this show possible. I want to thank our producer, Laura Herman. I want to thank our on-site engineers, Chris Colgan and Mass Cordenoy, our videographer, Evan West, and the engineer over at the studio, Susan Dunn, and my co-hosts, Katie Hogan and Lisa Smith. Next week, I'm going to have Gamiel Ramirez here. He's the founder of El Taller. The following week, Katie Hogan will be back, and she's going to have Danielle Bosky, the new general manager of WLUW, as well as Yolanda Nieves and members of the Vita Bella Ensemble. We encourage you to do good in the world. The world needs all the good that you do. This is Michael James for everybody here at the Heartland saying over and out, and all power to the people.